Hey YouTube, Mocker04 here with another model railroad review. Sorry it's been about a year since my last one. I've been busy at work. I do have other models I want to review. Some of them were featured in one of my previous model train running videos. Them being the Burlington Northern GP38 and Athearn UP844 in the two-tone gray, as well as a few others I've acquired since then. But this one will be of a Broadway Limited Paragon 3 with Rolling Thunder steam locomotive. In particular, their newest one, the Milwaukee Road S3 Class Northern, number 261, product number 2592. Now, before I get to the actual model, inside the box, you get two plastic inserts, one for the tender, one for the locomotive. Pretty well packaged in there when you get it, in addition to the actual foam lining. Also in there, you get a funnel for the smoke fluid, which is not included. However, some people have been saying that that theirs has enough smoke fluid in it to run it once, but personally I don't really see myself using the smoke unit that much. I don't have any smoke units in any of my other engines, but this one was an exception because it was the 261. Also in the bag, a little bag with an actual operating front coupler, two more traction tires as replacements, and then a tool for changing those out by removing the side rods. Now, some general information about the class. In general, they were built in 1944 by the American Locomotive Company's Schenectady, New York works. And in here, the train's special issue Fantastic 484 locomotives from 2012. It does have a section on specifically the Alco Northerns, of which the S3s are included under what is referred to as the second Alco standard designs. Now, some information on them is, again, they were built in 1944 as a dual service locomotive. They were numbered 260 to 269, so there were 10 of them altogether. They had 74-inch diameter driving wheels with a boiler pressure of 250 psi. And they burned coal, but 4 were converted to burn oil, and I believe those were the 262, 263, 267, and 269. However, Broadway Limited's version of the 267 does not include an oil-burning tender, but personally the only one I really wanted was the 261, which is the one I've got right here. But anyway, they also weighed, in working order, for just on the drivers, well, actually on the whole locomotive, 470,000 pounds. And then the tender itself weighed 367,300 pounds, with a rated tractive for, nope, wrong stats, that was for the Delaware and Hudson counterparts, but anyway, for the Milwaukee Road S3s, total weight of the locomotive, 460,000 pounds weight of the tender in working order, 364,100 pounds, rated tractive effort of 62,119, fuel capacity of 20 tons of coal, and 25,000 gallons of water. Now again, they had 74-inch diameter driving wheels, but some factors they did have in common with other Alco designed Northerns, designed and built Northerns, was because it was World War II, the production of new designs was strictly prohibited, and you could really only build, existing designs or modified versions of existing designs. So basically, when the Milwaukee Road needed 484s to take and run on routes that their heavier Baldwin-built S2 Northerns couldn't run on, they went to Alco, and Alco used in the design The frame's from a Rock Island R67B, the later 1944 variant. The boiler from a Delaware and Hudson 484, with a tender design based on that of the Union Pacific FEF-1s. And then, of course, standard Milwaukee Road features such as the solid cast steel pilot with, one second, if I can get it from this angle, drop down front knuckle coupler, as well as a Milwaukee Road style all-weather cab. Now, some features of this model are, as is current for the 261, namely the dual whistles up top, which is a feature to the 261 as it is nowadays, as well as the Mars light, which was a later addition made by the Milwaukee Road sometime around 1950. And then it's got, the bell right here in the as-built location on the rail, from when the locomotive was originally built. It's got the air horn, which it would have had when it was new in 1944. Beautiful, beautiful side rod detail on that side. Again, the 4 wheels up front under the cylinders, the 8 in the middle, 4 under the back, making it a 484. Now, the locomotive and tender are not plastic, as some people believe. They are a heavy-duty die-cast shell on a die-cast frame. The tender itself, pretty well detailed. Looks pretty darn close to the real deal. And I've actually ridden behind the real-life 261, which is one reason why I got this particular model. But also on the main locomotive, sliding roof vent, which when open reveals the top of the electronics for the built-in cab light. You get the turned brass safety valves right here, the electric generator, which on steam engines is powered by steam. You've got the steam and sand dome there. Again, the dual whistles with a puffing smoke unit, which again I'm not really going to use myself, and an operating Mars light, in addition to the standard operating headlight, as well as the 261 number boards. Now, because it's got a smoke unit under the cab, if you can see it, it does have a physical on-off switch for the smoke unit itself. The other way you can turn that on and off would be by way of function 7, which controls the smoke unit on Broadway Limited Paragon 2 and 3 fitted engines. Now for the engineer's side, you've got, for detail that you don't have on the fireman's side, you've got the throttle linkage running along here. You've got the reversing gear right down here. You also have up front, if I'm not blocking the light, you also have the dual air pumps, one on each side of the locomotive, hidden just behind the stairs here, going up from the pilot to the walkways along the sides, complete with safety tread detail. Again, beautiful side rod detail. For the tender, you've got the actual doors from the cab into the coal bunker modeled, the little enclosure going to that from the cab modeled. Now, as far as the engine to tender connection, you've got an 8-pin plug on the tender, complete with a swinging drawbar connection that attaches to the matching drawbar connection on the locomotive, which also has an extending drawbar, which is nice, and then the 8-pin plug on the rear of the locomotive. Now it does have cab detailing. I would take and show it to you right now, but that would require turning the flashlight on my phone, and I don't know if I can do that without stopping the recording. So I'll take and show you that later when I take and film the portion kind of going over the sounds. Now, also in the box, you get, sorry I didn't cover this earlier, but I forgot, you also get the warranty registration card. 1 year if you send it in by mail, 2 if you register online. Exploded parts diagram with the locomotive on the front, tender on the back. That way if you need any spare parts, you know which ones you need, rather the number, well, the part number of the part you need. But anyway, also inside the box you get the owner's manual. Sorry the video kind of cut out there, ran out of space on my phone to film. But anyway, you also, in there, get this. I don't know if you get this with the road numbers other than the 261, but you do get this in there with the 261. Basically describing the sounds. Now they did actually record these from the actual model, well, from the actual locomotive. You also get actual crew talk in there that references the real-life engine, the 261. Basically, by changing CV224, you can either make it have the original 3-chime pull cord, the pull cord 6-chime, or the 3-chime button press whistle. Then by changing CV223 to a CV value of 1, you can change it to from the original hand-rung bell to the pneumatic bell. F22 triggers the secondary horn on-off, secondary horn or whistle on-off, which activates the air horn or switches it back to the steam whistle. Now, in the manual, it does actually list all the different functions you get. For functions, you get F0, front and rear light. You get F1 bell, F2 is the whistle, F3 is coupler slack, couple. F4 is air pump, 5 is blow down and increased chuff, 6 is water stop, well as water fill and decreased chuff intensity, 7 is smoke on off, 8 is volume mute, 9 is startup shutdown, 10 is the coal shovel or auger sound effect, of which the S3s have the coal shoveling. F11 is the water injectors, F12 is brake set release, when moving brake squeal. F13 is grade crossing horn or whistle. F14 is passenger announcements. 15 is freight announcements. 16 is maintenance sounds. F17 is the radio, the crew chatter or radio sounds. F18 is city background sounds. 19 is farm background sounds. 20 is industrial background. 21 is lumber background. F22 is again toggle to secondary horn, or in this case the air horn. F23 is track sounds, so basically the wheels moving over the rail joints. 24 is auxiliary light control, which turns on the Mars light here on the front of the locomotive. F25 is the long whistle. 26 is play recorded macro. F7 is record stop macro. F28 is brake squeal. Now, personally, I think this is a very well done model, and it's the first one available in plastic or die-cast metal since, or rather of this class in general, since the 1990s run of Overland Models brass locomotives, which were uber expensive and nowadays are very hard to find. And then again, so are these are pretty much sold out everywhere. They're sold out on Train World, where I had mine pre-ordered. They're sold out on Model Train stuff. So, if you can find one, I would recommend not waiting to get it. If you want one, and you've got the money, get it. Do not wait. You, in my opinion, will not regret it. So, again, I will take and next film, all the sounds going, then maybe show another video of it running. But again, I would personally recommend getting this model. You will not be disappointed. So again, if you've got the money and you find it, get it. even if it's not the 261, it's like the 265. Either way, I would highly recommend it.